Here, let's do this. So first, I'll show you the more serious news, and then we'll cry a little bit about how insane this whole story is. Fox News says NBA calls off playoff games after Milwaukee Bucks boycott game over shooting of Jacob Blake. The players forced the league's hand after protesting the Sunday shooting by Kenosha police of Jacob Blake, a 29-year-old black man. So that's the gist of it, but it gets crazier. Milwaukee Brewers join Bucks in protest sit-out game versus Reds after Jacob Blake shooting. I got a theory about this. Have you seen any of these games they've been doing?
The basketball games?
Recently because of COVID?
Yeah, you think the games have been sucking, so they're like...
Yeah. Like the ratings have been down, 40% down. So actually, I have it right here. Check this out. Outkick. NBA playoff ratings on ESPN are down 40%. Ratings, my understanding, across the board are down. So imagine this, right? You're used to playing major league sports. You got all these fans. Oh, yeah. They're all yelling, and you're all excited, and you get the three-pointer, you swing, you home run, everyone's cheering. Now it's a bunch of cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, and janitor sweeping as you dunked on your opponent.
And you're creeped out. I mean, I would be creeped out. I couldn't imagine. I used to skate in contests a long time ago. I couldn't imagine
figure skate.
Yeah, figure skating for sure. Yeah, skateboarding. But there's people all over, and it really hypes you up when you're like, if I know I got this, people like they cheer for you, they cheer you on. It gives you that energy. I couldn't imagine, like, I skate by myself sometimes. A lot of the time, you're just skating for yourself. But when you're going out for a contest and you're pushing your limits, and there's no one there, and it's just like you just cough off to the side. The janitor, he's sweeping, and they expect you to perform your greatest without support of the crowd's cheering for you.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you've seen wrestling without the audiences, but it is a sad sight. The guy's like, oh, I can't hear you. It's just a cardboard cutout creaking in the wind.
It's a janitor.
Yeah, dude.
And I was gonna make a really offensive joke. I won't do it. So I wonder if the reason why they're actually boycotting is because they're all like, dude, we need an out.
Yeah,
like they're playing these games in these rooms where there's like I was watching, I think it was WNBA. They walked out on the national anthem, and they're not even in a court. They're not even in like an arena. They're in like a high school gym.
Well, the fans of the WNBA have been boycotting by not showing up for ages.
Yeah. They didn't have to worry about the cardboard cutouts for that one. They just were like, no one's gonna be here anyway.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Holy crap, the attendance is wild because they actually put the biggest attendance in history.
The first time the seats have been filled. I remember when the WNBA boycott thing happened. They walk out on the national anthem.
Yeah,
and I immediately pulled up the clip from Family Guy. Like Seth MacFarlane's the one who made the joke, not me, where he's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the joke, but it's really offensive. I mean, by today's standards, for sure.
Yeah.
Not so much back then, but he's like, and so and so is going to make the shot. She scores 2 points, and that's why she commands $7,000 a year. And they're like, but is the money worth being that unattractive?
Oh,
I don't know. That's for the fan to decide. There's one guy in the stands cheering.
That's 5 jokes in a row.
I know. That was Family Guy, man.
Yeah. The NBA has been fighting it by not dunking.
For real.
Seriously,
they can't dunk. So anyway, so this is it, right?
Doing layups in protest.
Right.
So they the Brewers are boycotting, NBA's boycotting. Like I said, I think maybe it's because they're just.
I would love for this to catch on and people do it their normal jobs, like just a bunch of guys at McDonald's being like, you know what, the fry cooks are staying home today. You're like, it's for against racism, and you're like, which one died? You're like, I don't know, one of them.
That's what they're doing. They've been calling for a general strike. But this is the funny thing.
Just a general strike of everyone in the world?
That's what. Yeah. So it's a very common thing. They try to get
like
done.
A pajama day, sort of.
Yeah. Like an extended siesta, nap time.
Great.
Yeah.
Like people in the Mediterranean get it. But a general strike among the left is when everyone just stops working. But they don't realize they actually don't have the support of like.
Imagine just women did it, and they're like, women are just going to stop working, and everything just went back to normal.
Oh gosh.
Everything improved. Efficiency went
women
up.
Are like, as a strike, we're just going to stay home, and you're like, no problem.
Like, no one complains.
Hey, if you don't mind making dinner today, and, if you got to pick up, you got to pick up the kids.
We're going to get banned for hate speech. The stream's going to get shut down.
I'm not saying that women shouldn't work. I'm just saying if they care about racism, they might want to consider that option.
That sounds like a great option.
The funny thing about that is people aren't working, man. Like businesses are shut down. They're permanently closed.
If you do have a job, this probably isn't the time to, be making crazy.
But I think the way they see it is now is the chance to finish off the beast. You know, everybody's laid off, so there's only a few people working. McDonald's and the grocery store and stuff. So get them to go on strike, and there's nothing left. Maybe that's the general political idea to it.
Dude, these like all that stuff is like everyone's not like a 20-year-old activist. Like
I know.
just telling some normal guy, he's like 50 years old, he's got a family. You're like, yo, you're gonna quit, you're gonna like not go to work anymore for the next week, and you're like, why? You're like, oh, we got a whole thing going on at the university. He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. My gender studies teacher said it'd be a good idea, and he's like, I gotta pay my kids
I have
tuition.
a
I don't
life.
know. Yeah, but that really is it. So check this out. So we know all this is going on, but now we got to get to the best part. Yahoo Sports, Players Association in active talks with players about logistics of potentially boycotting games. So this happened earlier this morning. I'm reading this article. I started laughing. There's no way this is real. Check this out. They say, an assembly organized by players who are emotionally traumatized by the latest police-involved shooting of an African-American that was captured on video was held Tuesday night at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, sources said. And there were multiple conversations about what the actions could be taken throughout the day. So the first thing that happens is I'm talking to my friends, and I'm like, do you hear about these NBA players?
And they're like, I can't talk. I'm too emotionally traumatized.
Yeah, they were crying.
Yeah.
I called them up, and they were like, I can't process this.
I was actually emotionally traumatized because I watched a WNBA game.
Ryan came in, and when he first came here, I mentioned what happened, and he broke down.
I just
he
said,
was
hold
crying.
me.
Hold me. So no, but in all seriousness,
The only thing that will help if I can watch you do some sick nollies at a skate park in the backyard.
Totally
bring the
helps.
sports back.
If you could shred some gnar for me, Tim,
And
that
that's-
would really make me feel better.
And that's when I started crying because I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
No. So I did. I sent it to my friend, and they didn't believe it. Like
No, they
I didn't
thought-
believe it either. And I sent a screenshot of where it said the players who are emotionally traumatized, and they're like, this is like an onion, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not the onion. Check this out. It gets even better. My favorite part. I have no idea what they were thinking when they wrote this. Here, this is okay. I gotta give everybody a warning.
Yeah,
this is quite
great.
literally on Yahoo Sports' website.
This is real.
Athletes aren't immune to being racially profiled. Sources said, as a tactic to avoid being pulled over, a few players have purchased Teslas, believing that police wouldn't suspect a black man to be operating that vehicle. Now, the reason why the first thing I saw there was, it sounds like some rich dude. It's like, oh, they're like, you bought a Tesla? It's like kind of expensive, don't you think? Shouldn't you buy like a normal car? Well, it's because the police wouldn't profile me in it.
Yeah.
So, like, their accountant is like, I don't know how you're justifying this $50,000 car. Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
How can we write this off? Call it a security expense.
Also, like LeBron James, like a Tesla's got to be a drop in the pan for these people. He's like, I needed a fancy car. It's like Teslas are like what, like a 50 grand? It's like you get a Ferrari if you want, LeBron James.
Yeah.
He's like, because of racism, I had to drop this insane amount of money on a car. I'm like, you can buy a fleet of Teslas.
What's kind of crazy about it though is, I think that straight up is racist. The fact that this idea exists that a cop is going to not pull over a Tesla because, like, this is the world they live in, and it kind of freaks me out. They really think the cops are like in their cars going like, let's find the minorities, and then like they see a car drive by, and like, go after them. It doesn't matter what your car is. In fact, a Tesla's more likely to get pulled over.
Yeah,
I'd
It might
imagine.
be less likely to get pulled over than like a Honda Civic with like souped up rims.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
just
that's fair.
lowered.
Smoke coming out the
Black
windows.
lights. Yeah. 9 guys in the back seat.
Maybe.
Dude, flashy cars get pulled over more. You want to get like
Yeah.
a gray Civic, and then you don't get
That's
pulled
what
over.
you want. Yeah, get a Honda Accord if you want to.
But it's also crazy, this idea that these guys think the cops can't look through windows.
Yeah.
Like you sit in a Tesla, and all of a sudden the cops are like, I can't see. What's But I think it's nuts that they view this world that way.
Dude, the fact that LeBron James said that he's like, listen, I get the sentiment, but for LeBron James personally to be like, yo, I'm afraid for my life personally, it's like, you're not though. Like
Yeah.
LeBron James comes out of his house and he's like, yeah, that great basketball game. Now I have to walk to my car and fear for my life. And you're like, yeah, I think you're gonna be fine. You're a 7 foot tall. Like the cops pull him over and they wouldn't say like, yeah, you're a black guy. That's where you pulled over. They go, yo, are you LeBron James?
Yeah, I know, seriously.
You know, they know who you are.
Yeah, especially like he's probably got a driver.
Yeah.
He's probably got a driver. I'm sure he drives himself. He gets pulled over in his very fancy car, and I'm sure it's fine. One of the craziest things about this whole narrative they've had, there was a viral commercial where it was like the talk, This is what freaks me out, because I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I talk to my progressive friends, and they really believe that parents shouldn't tell their kids how to act around police and even firefighters or EMTs. Like,
It's not their job to educate their kids.
but what world do they live in? No, it's serious. Like, I see these stories. It's no wonder you get these super entitled, college students who have you seen that video in New York during the riots where this woman is screaming at the cops in their face and they keep saying, "Move, get back," and she goes, "Or effing what?" And then the cop goes, "She's coming," and he grabs her and she goes, "No, and starts calling to her friends.
That's the classic.
Yeah.
That's the classic move.
Because she's never been told, like, here's how you appropriately deal in like these circumstances.
I mean, listen, I was like a troublemaker growing up, and I've had run-ins with the cops, and I'm not like some pro-cop guy.
Right.
But also, like, I've had times where a cop beat me up. I've, been tons of nights in the drunk tank and all that stuff. But I never really, like, it still sucked, and I was like, cops are kind of losers, but I didn't come out of it being like, I was innocent completely. And I'm not saying everyone else isn't, but like most of the times that I did it, I like look back and I was like, yeah, I was a little out of hand that night.
Yeah. But I grew up and everybody I know in my neighborhood was told, like, hey man, when you get pulled over, you got to turn the engine off, take the keys out, put them on the dash, put your wallet on the dash, put your turn the radio down, turn the dome light on, put your hands on the wheel, and wait for the officer to walk up. And then when he asks for your ID, it's right there in front of you. And you do that just to make sure everybody feels safe and secure. It's like these progressives act like...
I was told put on F the police full volume,
full blast,
and then stare at him without blinking,
and hold your hand in your shirt as he walks up and give him a look. No, don't do that.
Don't do
anything
please.
like
oh my
that.
Gosh.
I've had some wild, but like, it's this. The problem is, it's with all this stuff is they shove it down your face so much, and then the times when they're actually like, oh, the cops are wrong there, it's hard to defend because it's like when they're like, everyone's racist, then there actually is one. You're like, I'm just done hearing about people being racist.
Yeah.
But this is the one that always makes me laugh. When at my old house in Toronto, these cops busted into our house in the middle of the night. This at like 3 a.m. They knocked down the door and came in. They had guns. There was like 5 or 6 of them. Came in with guns, bust down the door. They started flipping our mattresses. They go, everyone cuffed up. And there was girls there too. So they put the girls, they're all crying like, ugh. They're like, 20-year-old girls. Like, why are we, who are you people? So anyways, they bring us out on the thing, make us sit there. It's like winter. And then eventually, when this all said and done, they're like, who's so-and-so? And we're like, none of us. And then they were like, is this not 5 Ave Street? And they're like, oh, they were at the wrong house.
Damn.
This is for real. And then nothing happens. They turned our house upside down. Then they just go, all right, well, good. You better not have any guns. They just sort of move on to the next house. So you're like, it's not like cops are always in the right.
I think, so you're talking about Canada though, right?
Yeah, I mean, cops are probably worse here than Canada, don't you think?
But that story was in Toronto.
Yeah.
So
the 6 is the hood. I mean, you wouldn't last a day there. It's a real tough place.
Oh, right on.
No, you grew up in Chicago.
I had a place near what used to be called Comiskey Park. Now it's US Cellular Field in Chicago. It's where the White Sox play. And one day, me and my friends we were playing GTA, and the cops just kick our door in, and they come up with their guns out, and they're screaming. It's been so long, but they were like, "Where's Jimmy?" or something like that. And the 3 of us are just like, "Who?" And he's like, "Where's Jimmy?" It's like me and 2 of my friends. No one's name is Jimmy. And then they walk to the house looking around, and we were like, "We moved in 2 months ago," and they were like, "Oh," and they leave.
Oh my God! Like that should be pretty high on the checklist before you break a door down. Is make sure we got the right one.
Well, they did. It was the right address.
Oh, it was the right
address. But whoever they were looking for didn't live there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so these cops, no warrant, nothing. I guess they were looking for some guy, and Chicago's got cop problems, man.
They were looking for LeBron James. Is who they were looking for.
What they were doing.
They saw a Tesla out front, and they knew.
Yeah, imagine LeBron James had like a really good point because the cops are legitimately like, yo, wouldn't it be funny to pull LeBron over like once a week? And then he's like, I'm telling you, these cops are after me. And they're like, oh, LeBron James, the cops are out to get you. He's like, I swear, it's a conspiracy.
And then like there's one of his managers talking to somebody, and he's like, I'm telling you, there's cops. And then the manager's like, he's just he's a little.
Yeah, I think they're everywhere.
I mean,
5-0 LeBron.
But you know what's funny? You're making a joke. But that's exactly what it sounds like they're saying.
Yeah, it's not that far off.
Yeah, man. So I wonder if this is offensive enough that YouTube's going to be like, let's turn this one off. This guy's
this video?
Yeah, yeah.
Really? This is
YouTube is nuts, man. The censorship is getting crazy.
Eggshells,
yeah.
man.
They were hard on. I told you I did this stock market video.
Yeah.
But you know how it's like you never know what they're gonna get you for. You're always like, oh, this one's a little crazy, and then nothing, and then they get you for something. You're like, what? That was
Oh,
nothing.
dude. I have videos where it's like, I was talking about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Joe Biden gets accused by these women of, being a little touchy-feely with him, and it's like this big scandal. And I'm like, Joe Biden did this, he did that, and they're like, all good.
Yeah.
And then I do a video about like a TV show, and they're like, whoa, you can't talk about sex and
Yeah.
stuff like that. What do you? And then it's the craziest thing to me. I do a segment, and it's like, they have this thing called self-certification on YouTube where you choose, does this appear in your video?
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, and so I'll be like, it's serious topical analysis. There's nothing too crazy. I don't show, graphic imagery or anything like that. And I have no idea why. Some videos are good, some are bad. And so I'm constantly in talks with Google, and I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. Like, this video right here is good, and it's a story where I'm talking about a guy who took a bullet in the chest and then dropped dead. Another guy who got a bullet to the head. That's okay. And we're showing the guy with the gun, just not any graphic imagery. Yes. Okay, now this one, I talked about Kamala Harris running with Joe Biden, and you flagged that as hate speech. That one's offensive.
Yeah.
That one's got to go. And there were, well, yeah.
And then the
because-
video where you're yelling the N-word for 2 hours straight.
But
Yeah,
you
that
know,
one.
but the crazy
Talking
thing
about
is,
that
G2G.
you actually can say and use slurs on YouTube so long as it's not directed at.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
But
yeah.
they will throttle you. They'll demonetize you. They just
They don't love it.
They won't ban you for doing it.
They're like, yo, it's chill, but like,
yeah.
we don't love it.
We
but-
totally get it, man. It's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
cool. Like,
listen.
do your thing, but just like we're not going to tell the neighbors about it. But yeah. So you've got the woke racist video.
Yeah.
The two guys wearing shirts. One guy's woke. One guy's. They believe the exact same things.
Yeah.
And that one you didn't have any problems with.
No, that didn't get censored everywhere. But I've had lots of stuff censored over the years. But I just thought it was funny that I did the stock market video. Like, basically the premise was like the stock market's kind of overvalued. It was like not even anything crazy. And it got censored everywhere.
That's so weird,
Dude, like TikTok took it down twice, then it got like demonetized, and then it got like the thing on Twitter that says, it has shocking content or whatever.
Wow.
And
So wait. Explain what the video is. Like, what's the premise of the sketch?
basically, it's the economy and the stock market, and the economy is like a bro partying, like, whoa, yeah, this is never gonna end, and the economy is like, we're very sick because they're Siamese twins.
Yeah.
The guy's like, maybe you're sick. Like, success is just a state of mind. He's looking at Gary V's.
Maybe it's a Siamese twin. Is that actually offensive? Is it?
I didn't even say Siamese. I said conjoined.
Conjoined.
Yeah, because I know that's a big problem right
Yeah,
now.
what is why do we call it Siamese? It was because there was like two famous people who were Siamese, right?
I think so. So I think it was because it was like a circus act. Like it was a Siamese. Yeah,
Yeah, and
kind of
and-
terrible.
And
Well-
the guy who started the circus tweeted something bad in 1842.
That makes sense.
They
He's
found out
canceled.
not
You know,
over.
he chiseled something into a into a tablet that is now considered racist.
150 years
I don't
later.
think that Siam doesn't exist. It's
No,
Burma.
maybe it's that, but it's hard.
They were like your
we're
factual
drawing this
inaccuracies.
conclusion, yeah.
you used the name of a country that's no longer in existence. Therefore, no. But I think it's hilarious that you made a video. It makes the conspiracy theory alarm bell start going crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of conspiracy theory alarm bells that kind of go off on all that stuff. But the funny thing that I think I was kind of saying this to you before, but the funny thing about satire is how these places decide what they can put on and what they don't. Is they transcribe. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably know more than this than me. But they transcribe what's happened in the video
On
then-
YouTube.
and yeah, right.
Partly, yeah. So
Into text, and then they flag certain phrases and
they can
words and
actually
stuff
do
like that, right?
they can actually visualize the text. So like if you do a thumbnail that says, I don't know, like a racial slur, it can break the image down and detect the text in the image.
Right.
But also the words you say, it's there's actually, I think it was.
So you can't just do the white power sign willy nilly anymore.
Oh yeah, they'll find out and it'll translate the text and everything.
Yeah.
I think it was Keemstar. He said a word that I'm going to be very careful and enunciate very, very carefully. It starts with E, then there's a hyphen and the word girl. And the reason why I separated that in that way is because YouTube recognizes that word as basically one of the N words.
Really?
E-girl. Say it fast. And the translator said a word you can't say.
Very
And he got demonetized. Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize sometimes the demonetization is because the computer doesn't differentiate between similar sounding words. Like if I was thinking about this a while ago because I was I can't remember. I was at like a French restaurant or something, and I was thinking about the similarities.
Quit bragging.
Oh yes, that's right. We had escargot. No, it was literally like some New York, French themed restaurant.
Yeah.
And I started
Pierre is poutine.
Yes,
Yeah.
poutine. That's Canada. Get out of here. No, but I was thinking about how like if you spoke very quickly, you're priming yourself to someone else, like to someone who doesn't speak English in a very weird way. Like if you said, "Mr. and my sister," like
Right.
a person who doesn't speak English might not realize Mr. is a dude and my sister. They might hear the same thing.
Yeah, like my ex, I was saying, I think we should break up, and she heard, I'm going to stay here for another 2 years.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
There's always
thing, yeah.
these linguistic problems when you speak quick.
But YouTube mangles up what you say because we talk fast. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're so maybe what happens is you're talking about the stock market and like have you looked at the text? It's all like a bunch of
I
like,
said, is this,
all-
is real? And they were like, stock market in Israel? Okay, we
man,
know what's
yeah,
going
that's-
on here. Loud and clear. Get him out of here.
I'd be willing to bet
I'm talking about the Federal Reserve, and I accidentally say
yep.
Israel.
you're gonna get
Repercussion.
look. I'm willing to bet a lot of conspiracy theorists are going like,
Yeah.
you talk about the Fed, you talk about the stock market,
Right.
they shut
They're
you
starting
down.
they're starting
But
to put the...
so you know what's funny is it has come up. People talk about censorship of conservatives, a lot on social media, and it's real, but it's not so much that it's conservatives, it's anti-establishment orthodoxy. So
I would agree, yeah.
Conservatives, for the most part, are the ones, especially Trump supporters. So they see the most of it, but there are leftists like anti-war, anti-establishment who do get censorship sometimes. But for the most part, like the establishment orthodoxy of the left is typically okay. And that was another thing you were bringing up earlier that I thought was really fascinating. That you mentioned YouTube can't detect satire.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say, that because that's one of the reasons why people will do videos being like, oh, I'm like a Q guy, right? And then you say all this stuff. You're like, oh, Trump's doing this and he's the pedophile rings and hydroxychloroquine and whatever, I don't know. I'm sure people on the internet are like, that's not what they think. I don't know. But if you say like, oh, I'm going to make fun of like the far right or something, and you say all their talking points, then YouTube goes like, you're not allowed to say that stuff. Take them down. But if I come on and I'm kind of like, oh, there's 75 genders and whatever, right? They take that phrase and they're like, 75 genders. We see no problem with that.
Yep.
Good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah, because you're making fun of it, but they can't tell the sarcasm.
Yep.
So you're making fun.
So you were telling me that earlier, and I was like, that's
So
a
you
really
just have to say everything sarcastically and wink.
but it's right. So
Women are equal to men.
and again, and YouTube's going to translate that, and the computer's going to see it as a literal statement.
Yeah, they're gonna say this guy's bang on, dude. Let's
Yeah.
throw this MF in the algorithm. He's
Boom.
Truth bombs on this channel.
You have you seen what happened at this bookstore? This is hilarious. Do you know Titanium McGrath?
Yes.
So they did a display of all of these woke books, and one of the books they put on the pedestal was Woke by Titanium
on.
McGrath, Andrew Doyle's satire project. And so you have like white fragility and like white whatever, and then there's woke, and they didn't. It's this.
That's indistinguishable.
It's hard for me to get out. It's just
He
indistinguishable.
He constantly does articles where they basically prove his article. Dude, I've had a few of those where like I made jokes and stuff, and then the next day you're like, yeah, no, that's what they're doing for real.
Dude, how many times has like the Babylon Bee or the Onion come true now?
Dude, it's like they're predicting the future at this point. I'm gonna need them to stop writing some of these articles. It's nonsense.
Some of it's getting like creepy predictable, but man,
there was one thing that always made me laugh, just because, and I also bring it up because you worked at Vice. But because I kind of hit them hard, but I did an article. There's this girl that got fired from Vice, right? And she was like really mad, like they're getting rid of. I'm the only person speaking for trans people, but like the answer is like no one's reading these articles because they're garbage. And it was all like why men are cutting off their penises in solidarity when they're not even trans.
Is that what she was really writing?
Dead serious. So basically, I used half of the Vice articles and half ones I made up, and no one can tell the difference. Like why animals are actually trans, and there's all this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. But when I was, I kind of go hard on them too, because I remember when I was in Canada, they kind of came to Canada and they're like, oh, they made this big venture deal and kind of said we were going to spend money and then didn't really. But I was in a meeting with the guy and he said for me verbatim, I was talking about like the show about some guys in bands and stuff like that. And he's like, We're trying to do stuff with things like refugees, like stuff that's hot right now.
Whoa.
Dude, the guy at Vice looked me in the eyes and said, we want to do refugees because they're hot right now.
For like,
Yeah.
for what? Like entertainment content?
Yeah, like we want articles and shows about refugees because that's what's up right now. And I'm never forget that.
I've got similar stories, man. I worked for one company where I was talking to one of the higher ups. They were really confused about what the direction of the company, because when the editor in chief was asked by like their salespeople, "What's the mission of our media outlet?" he goes, "Gender." And I'm not. It's not an exaggeration. I am not making a joke. Like, I'm a serious guy. Okay. And they were like, "Huh?" And he goes, "That's our whole thing for next year." And they were like, "Okay."
Then he said, "Oh, what is it good for?"
I'm like, could you imagine, dude, like Vice walking up to you and being like, "We're really interested in like refugees for entertainment." Like,
Yeah.
What?
And you're like, "What about him?" It's like, that's
Yeah,
where you come in.
You got any jokes?
Yeah, well, I was saying that I was like, because it was a show about bands and stuff, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? The Refugees with their new hit song, "Staying Alive."
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, dude.
I approve.
Dude.
Dude, it's wild, yeah. But there's also this funny thing in entertainment that, one comedy especially, like there's this weird thing where some people think that if you're, when some people have the idea that you're certain groups you're not supposed to make jokes about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, but you go, imagine you were in a group of friends where it's like, you can talk about him, but like, don't talk about, don't make jokes about James or whatever. And James is like, "Yo, dude, and then I'm not really in the group
Right.
if we can't talk, And I've always said that when you do stand up, you actually look at people that make fun of everyone. Everyone kind of leaves like a pressure release and they feel better. It's obviously if there's like a guy in a wheelchair and you rail on him nonstop, but if you just treat him like everyone else, people actually like that way better. But when you kind of set those tones, it puts it in a weird situation, especially. This is why there's all these conflicting agendas, because they go, diversity is really good and we need like diversity in sketches, right? But a lot of sketch comedy, you're making fun of the thing, right? So they're like, you need women and trans people in sketches. Also, you can't make fun of them. And you go, so what? Like, my comedy sketches just have to have like, Indian trans people that are the heroes. And like, that's not really.
And so there's no joke.
Well, yeah, you go, what am I, like, I'm fine with putting. So I always say it's funny when they ever go like, there needs to be more diversity in comedy. You're like, loud and clear, lots of black guys.
Yeah.
Because black comics kick, they're very funny, right?
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify. And we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.